When it comes to physical disciplines, there are two types of understanding a student could acquire that needs to be considered and distinguished. Hi, I am Sensei Zad. I am a karate instructor. I've been teaching and coaching karate for the past 10 years. My base is Shitoryu Karate-do, although I started off with Shotokan Karate. This is a Karate Zad video. If you find this video useful or interesting in any way, please like, share, and subscribe or follow. The koshi, or hips, is one of the most important elements in karate, as it is used in almost every, if not all, karate techniques in both kata and kumite. But it is also very tricky to teach. In the next video, I will be sharing on how I train and teach the koshi. In other words, how I get my students to be able to understand and use the hips. But before that, I would have to share with you two concepts that I utilize in teaching a technique that is initially very unintuitive. That is, two understandings and range of intuitive control. This is what this video is about. When it comes to physical disciplines, there are two types of understanding a student could acquire that needs to be considered and distinguished. The first is whether the mind has understood the concept. The second is whether the body itself has understood how to perform the technique. For simple reference, I will call them the mind understanding and the body understanding. As an example, let's imagine teaching adults who has never seen a bicycle to learn to ride a bicycle. You can demonstrate to them by riding a bicycle yourself, and you can also explain to them the mechanics of riding a bicycle. For example, you can explain to them that in order to keep balance, you have to be constantly moving forward above a certain speed, and that you have to cycle the pedal with your feet to move forward. That when moving slowly, you can maneuver left or right by steering the handle, and that it is better to lean left or right to maneuver when moving fast. Adults would easily understand these technicalities. They may even understand the gyroscopic effect that allows us to maintain balance when cycling. After demonstrating and explaining, by definition, they already understand how to ride a bicycle, but so long as they have not trained for it, they are not able to do it yet. This is the mind understanding. A child below a certain age, however, lacks the experience and exposure to technical concepts that adults face in their profession or field of studies. So, they won't be able to conceptualize the mechanics of riding a bicycle as described previously. But despite that, after sufficient practice, they would still be able to ride a bicycle. Once the child is able to ride a bicycle, their body have understood how to do what needs to be done, even if their mind has not understood how it works. This is the body understanding. Intuitive control is another term I would like to introduce. It is not a widely used term, but it has been used in a medical paper titled Biomechanical Reconstruction Using the Tacit Learning System, Intuitive Control of Prosthetic Hand Rotation. In this context, the meaning here seems to be clear. The paper is about robotic prosthetic hands. The details of this paper is not really of concern for this video. All we need to know is that in the field of prosthesis, the dream is to produce prosthetic limbs that users are able to immediately control so naturally with minimal training, as if the prosthesis were their own original limbs. What I want to introduce is not just intuitive control, but the range of one's intuitive control. For example, again regarding prosthetic hands, perhaps the user is able to rotate at the wrist effortlessly, and also grasping to a fist and releasing to an open palm effortlessly as well, but is not able to intuitively do both simultaneously. In this example, the range of intuitive control is limited to only one of the two movements at a time. To expand the range further to both movements simultaneously, training is required. This is where we come back to karate. When it comes to teaching students a new technique that is initially unintuitive, I try to utilize both concepts in the following steps. First, I will attempt to get the student to understand how the technique works, the mind understanding. Second, I will determine the student's range of intuitive control and break down the technique into different pieces according to the student's range. To know where to break up the technique and which pieces to combine first and which later is crucial to the student's learning. Next, I will choose a group of 2 or 3 connected pieces and train one piece repeatedly until it feels natural or effortless to the student. Then move on to the next piece within the group. Then, we need to sequence, then connect, and eventually combine the pieces within the same group and train them as a single motion repeatedly until that motion feels natural to the student. Once this is achieved, as an instructor, this tells me that the student's range of intuitive control has expanded from just one piece at a time within that group to the whole group as a single motion. We then continue to the next or previous group of connected pieces and repeat the process. Finally, we sequence, connect, and eventually combine the groups of pieces and train them repeatedly. Once it's natural to the student, the range of intuitive control has expanded further to the entire technique as a single motion. At this stage, the student has developed the body understanding of the technique. In the next video, I will be showing how to train the hip rotation on Zenkutsudachi using these steps, then combining it with the Zuki, the punch. This is a Karate Zad video. I am Sensei Zad. If you find this video useful or interesting in any way, please like, share, and subscribe or follow. As my sensei often say, what I share with you is 100% yours. There's nothing I can do to take it back. It's just a matter of whether you implement it or forget it. If you have any suggestions, questions, or anything to say, do comment. But remember to remain polite and civil in the comment section.